LinkedIn presents.
By bridging the gap between the inner world of subjective experience and its material underpinnings, we can expand our understanding of how we perceive ourselves and the world, offering a fuller picture of what it means to be human.
Happy Wednesday, friends. I'm Michael Kovnat, and this is the Next Big Idea Daily, quick masterclasses from the best new books written and read by the authors themselves. Don't forget to hit follow in your podcast player and sign up for our free newsletter using the link in the episode notes. Today, let's ask one of the hardest questions of all. What is consciousness? From the standpoint of science, it's remarkably hard to pin down, since by its nature, consciousness is a subjective experience, hard to reduce to the observable activity of neurons firing in the brain. For centuries, though, mystics and contemplative traditions have taken a different approach, exploring the mind from the inside out, describing experiences that modern science has struggled to explain. Trying to blend these two approaches, cognitive scientist Vladimir Miskovic and psychologist Stephen J. Lin have written a new book called Dreaming Reality: How Neuroscience and Mysticism Can Unlock the Secrets of Consciousness. It's a deep dive into our human experience, and Vladimir joins us to share some of their big ideas right after this quick break.
From LinkedIn News, I'm Leah Smart, host of Everyday Better, an award-winning podcast dedicated to personal development. Join me every week for captivating stories and research to find more fulfillment in your work and personal life. Listen to Everyday Better on the LinkedIn Podcast Network, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
From LinkedIn News, I'm Jessie Hempel, host of the Hello Monday podcast. Start your week with the Hello Monday podcast. We'll navigate career pivots. We'll learn where happiness fits in. Listen to Hello Monday with me, Jessie Hempel, on the LinkedIn Podcast Network or wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm Vladimir Miskovic, a neuroscientist turned monk, and I'm the co-author, together with my friend Stephen J. Lin, of Dreaming Reality: How Neuroscience and Mysticism Can Unlock the Secrets of Consciousness. I'm going to share with you 5 key insights from our book. Your defining feature isn't something that you can see or touch. It's the invisible magic of your lived experience. From the moment you're born to your final breath, your life unfolds as a rich stream of sensations, thoughts, feelings, memories, and dreams. And the most fascinating part is that it's all deeply subjective. Now, of course, your physical body is measurable and occupies space, and much of what you experience links to biological processes. But the true essence of your inner world, like the fleeting spark of a thought or the delicate hue of an emotion, defies direct measurement. Even if your skull were transparent, and we could watch your brain flicker and hum with activity, we'd never actually see your inner reality, the thought itself, the feeling in its raw, unfiltered form. Materialism is a philosophical idea that everything boils down to physical processes. It claims that reality works bottom up, with matter as the fundamental cause of everything. In its strictest form, materialism insists that any psychological experience, say a feeling of joy, can be fully explained as a physical state in your brain. But here's the irony. In reducing everything to neurons and molecules, materialism leaves out the most central part of consciousness, the experience itself. Your inner universe of thoughts and emotions is just as real as the electrical signals that are firing in your brain. We challenge the strictly materialist view. Why do we do that? Because it splits reality into fragments, ignoring the fact that it's a unified whole. Reality isn't just about what's observable on the outside. It's also about what you feel and experience on the inside. We argue for a perspective called dual aspect monism, which sees reality as a multi-dimensional braid, two strands tightly woven together. One strand is the outer, visible world of measurable things, while the other is the inner, invisible world of your subjective experience. And neither strand can be reduced to the other. They are two perspectives on the same reality. Think of flipping a coin. You can only see one side at a time, heads or tails, but the coin itself is always both. Now imagine standing on a quiet beach, watching the sunrise. One perspective might examine what's happening in your nervous system as you soak in the scene. Your brain waves, the way your pupils adjust to the light, the hormones that fire as you feel awe. But that perspective can't capture what you're actually experiencing. The way that the dawn's colors hit you, the memories that they stir, the emotions that they evoke. Both perspectives, the external and the internal, are needed in order to fully understand the moment. By combining these perspectives, we aim to unlock deeper truths about what it means to experience life, how these experiences are constructed, and how they shape our understanding of ourselves and the world around us. What can mystical traditions teach us about human consciousness? Bringing together modern brain science and a deeper, more expansive understanding of human experience and consciousness is no small feat. Materialist views, which often dismiss the subjective nature of consciousness, have kept us from truly grasping the richness and range of what it means to experience life. Mystical traditions, on the other hand, have spent centuries diving into the heart of human experience from the inside out. Through practices like deep silence, stillness, focused attention, and self-withdrawal, they've developed tools to explore the roots of consciousness. These aren't just spiritual practices. They represent a sophisticated body of psychological knowledge, offering detailed maps of the mind across different states of awareness. To ignore this wealth of insight would mean overlooking some of the very areas where modern scientific models of consciousness fall short. But instead of getting bogged down in the metaphysical or theological claims made by these mystical traditions, we focus on something more universal. The points where their insights align with modern neuroscience. By comparing the outside-in view of the brain, provided by cutting-edge science, with the inside-out explorations of contemplative practices, especially those from Buddhism, Christianity, and Vedanta, we can uncover new ways of understanding consciousness. This kind of dialogue between neuroscience and contemplative traditions opens the door to a more optimistic approach, a new neurophenomenology. By bridging the gap between the inner world of subjective experience and its material underpinnings, we can expand our understanding of how we perceive ourselves and the world, offering a fuller picture of what it means to be human. Your experiences of self and world are not what they seem. Most of us don't spend much time questioning the deeper mechanics of our everyday experiences. For instance, when you're walking down the street, seeing people, objects, and places, it's natural to just accept it all at face value. This is just how things are. You feel like a separate self, navigating a world that seems objectively real, where people, objects, or events inherently carry qualities like good or bad. The whole world feels like a stage, solid and indisputable, where you play your part. And in doing so, you often become caught up in the constant flow of perceptions, thoughts, and feelings, rarely stopping to ask how all of this actually works, how it comes together. Modern neuroscience challenges this so-called naive realism interpretation, and it offers a far more fascinating view of reality. Research suggests that the brain isn't simply a passive receiver of information, but functions as a highly sophisticated virtual reality generator, tuned by both genetics and our life experiences. Scientists like Thomas Metzinger and Anil Seth describe our waking life as similar to a controlled hallucination or a form of online dreaming. Even your sense of self, that feeling of being a distinct individual, isn't a fixed entity but a construction, layered with inputs from the brain's verbal systems, sensory experiences, and raw emotional state. Interestingly, these modern scientific insights align with ancient wisdom from mystical traditions, which have long taught that what we think of as ordinary waking consciousness is, in fact, dreamlike. These traditions point out that our experiences are filtered through automatic, self-centered perspectives that often lead to unnecessary mental suffering. Just like in a dream, where everything feels real in the moment, our waking experiences often carry an illusion of solidity that's equally deceptive. Our experiences are actively constructed by the brain and mind as they interact with the world around us. This perspective opens up profound questions about the relationship between the self, the world, and the roots of consciousness itself. By stepping outside the default waking state, we can start to unravel the foundations of the world we take for granted and discover just how fluid, dynamic, and interconnected it all truly is. Realms of reality. Modern neuroscience paints consciousness as a kind of virtual reality system, an ever-evolving and changing model of self and world that updates continuously based on new information. These mental models create what phenomenologists call a life world, an immersive and often unnoticed frame that shapes how we experience everyday life. Everything in this life world feels subjectively true and real to us. However, the accuracy of these predictive models varies. They can either align closely with reality, or they can distort it significantly. For instance, if you hear the sound of running water while asleep, your brain might incorporate this into a dream, turning it into an image of paddling a canoe down a stream. Now, this is a relatively loose, dreamlike hallucination of reality. Similarly, in waking life, seeing others through a me versus them lens can create a polarized and distorted experience, essentially a less obvious but still uncontrolled hallucination. And these distorted models can cause unnecessary suffering. On a larger scale, maladaptive models of self and world can trap people in cycles of depression, anxiety, or existential despair. These, what we call second-order models of reality, are mostly automatic and involuntary distortions. And what they do is that they obscure a more fundamental, ultimate, or first-order reality, a deeper, clearer layer of experience that is less filtered and more directly connected to what is. Human beings naturally get tangled up in their thoughts, feelings, and sensory experiences, which create layers of veils between the everyday mind and this deeper reality. Contemplative practices aim to thin these veils, gradually dissolving the mental and emotional clutter that clouds our perception. Over time, and with consistent practice, these efforts can help individuals tune into an always present, unfiltered, first-order reality. This is often described as the experience of non-duality in mystical traditions, a state where the usual boundaries between self and world dissolve. Interestingly, modern neuroscience is beginning to explore these states, drawing connections between contemplative experiences and measurable changes in the brain. Neuroscientific studies suggest that advanced contemplative practices can lead to significant reorganizations in brain activity, reflecting deeper shifts in consciousness. Our work synthesizes insights from both of these domains: the contemplative stages described by mystical traditions, and the latest neuroscientific research on how the brain changes with practice. As neuroscience ventures further into realms that contemplative masters have studied for centuries, we find ourselves on the brink of a new era, one that deepens our understanding of human consciousness and its vast potential.
Thank you, Vladimir. Okay, everyone, you can get a copy of Dreaming Reality wherever you get your books. That's our show for the day. If you got something out of it, please leave a rating or review in our podcast player so others can find it too. And go to nextbigideaclub.com to find out about our hardback subscription club, where we send you the best new nonfiction books as chosen by our curators Malcolm Gladwell, Adam Grant, Susan Cain, and Daniel Pink. Check it out at nextbigideaclub.com. I'm Michael Kovnat. See you tomorrow.